whatever, the screws and people sitting in them, or if it wasn't glued initially, the screws will loosen up on them every year. So if you just get a screwdriver and just give it a little quarter turn, not even, on the screws, it'll tighten it all up again, and then you'll have a great season out of it. If you leave it, they can get kind of loosey-goosey feeling if the screws are left loose and they're not glued together. That's the only reason that these things ever get wobbly feeling. And it's never too late. Even if you have a chair at home and it's kind of getting rickety feeling, you can take off. I'll show you which parts are usually, this part here. It's important to glue this part, and it's important to glue the comfort slat. These ones here, it's not that big of a deal if you don't glue them. So just this one and that one. And it's nice to glue the legs on. So they're pretty easy to take off though if you don't glue them. It's just 4 screws. You don't have to take them all the way out, just pop them out so you can get the leg off. A little gob of glue, slap it on, put the 1 screw into the hole you already had, get that put in, line up the pencil mark, and bam bam. It's very fast. Okay, so that is a base assembly. Pretty well done. There's parts we're going to put on here, which we can do now. I don't have it in the instructions like this, but might as well while it's up here. And I put a bit of glue on here. It's kind of wet, so I won't use it now. So there's 2 blocks. These are the arm supports. They have 3 countersunk holes on one side and 2 just regular holes with no countersink on them. So these are going to sit on here, and then this little piece, the triangle piece, it just goes on like this, and you glue it all up and it's very nice and sturdy. This allows you to have an arm rest that doesn't have any screws through it because they're ugly anyway, so at least we have the block and triangle underneath to not have to have screws showing through the arms. That's what we're doing. So put a little bit more glue on the top here and here. And we're going to use the long screws here in the 2 holes that go down into this end grain. And the grain of the wood is like this. So that's called end grain. So it's nice to have long screws going into end grain. Just like on this piece. This is going into end grain also, because that piece is this way. And you just line the block up with the edge of the inside edge of the leg. Try to keep it flush and straight. Makes it look nicer. Take 2 more of these. This. Long screws over here. Same kind of deal. Alright, so now I put a bead of glue on the right angle part of the triangles, like that, and you can use short screws for the rest of this operation. Into here, into here. So I usually just eyeball this. I take the triangle, look, you can see there's 2 holes there. Just sort of set it right in the middle. Just take a quick look at it, and yeah, it looks pretty straight. Then you have to hold it kind of tight with your hand against here, the triangle. And I usually put the top screw in first. You might try and push the triangle out a bit, but if you hold it in place, it'll just pull it right in. Okay, so now I'm looking, yeah, it looks pretty straight still, so you put this one in. Okay, so that's one side. 3 more short screws. That will do ya. Here, one there, one there. countersunk. There's still 2 holes here that we're going to have screws come up through from the bottom to hold the arms on afterwards. So kind of look at this. Okay, I'm going to grab on, hold it on tight there. Kind of twists in your hand a bit, but if you just look at it again, straighten it out. Gobble glue there. Alrighty, so that is a completed base unit. We're going to tackle the back assembly next. So the parts we need for the back assembly are the bottom back support and the top back support. It looks like a couple little canoes together. Now these 2 parts have little dimples, pre-dimpled little dots. This is where the back slots are going to be attached into. The screw is going to, you put the screw down into where the hole shows. In these, there's 7 on each of these surfaces on the lower back support. So the best way to do the back assembly is on a table, if you can push a table up against a wall, and that will allow you to use the wall as a square and the edge of the table as a square to keep things roughly in line. So this piece has a countersink in 3 spots. We're going to put that over here. I just use a chalkboard. That's going to I'm going to use that to duplicate a table being up against the wall. So I'm going to put this piece like this. The countersinks are facing this way. This piece here, it has 2 countersink holes, countersunk holes. I'm going to have them facing the same direction, so I'm going to put it up here. Okay, so basically we're going to take our back slats and we're going to attach them to this piece here. We're going to put the center one in. That will square up the whole unit. Then we're going to place them, attach the bottom of the slats to this piece, the bottom back support. They'll all be sitting this way, and then we'll spread them out and it'll be done. So step number 1 is getting your back slats organized. So I'm going to do that. I like to do them in 2 sets. Okay, so we've got the back slots in their sets. I like to put all the screws in at one time because it speeds the process up a bit. Okay, that's the first row, so I'm going to take the middle one. I'm going to put this screw in part way so the end of the screw is sticking through the board. A little bit of glue that near the screw. And from here, you go over to this part. And there's 7 little pin prick marks here. I'm going to look for the center one. And I'm going to align this screw into the little spot right here. So, screw it down. And I'm going to do the same with the center one for the other side of the chair. This. Okay, so this one, it's attached the same way. Over here on this